I think the first thing I should do is make a distinction between profession and professionalism. That tends to get mixed up. Profession is a group of individuals that have a defined skill set that meets certain standards, have specialized training. But professionalism is actually the behaviors. So are they not only practicing competent medicine, are they practicing ethically? And that's where, and not only ethically to the patients, but are they interacting well in their work environment with support staff, with nursing, with everyone they encounter? Because, as a physician, you are seen, whether you like it or not, as being the leader of the team. And that is inherent, I think, in the work that we do. When we walk into an operating room, we're seen as the lead, and we should embrace that. But if we behave poorly, that's really bad professional behavior. And what we've seen on the board is when we have issues of, quote, professionalism, it rarely has to do with competence. It almost always has to do with character and integrity issues. Our field is a very broad discipline that covers different areas that sometimes are related, sometimes are not. The general otolaryngologist, which is the vast majority of our specialty that work in the community, they're quite capable of doing the whole spectrum in the field, and they're quite good at it. Then there are others that have had kind of subspecialty training, like in otology and neurotology, head and neck surgery and allergy and facial plastics, that have actually spent extra time, and the focus of their practice is actually more confined to a subspecialty. And it's important to be able to recognize that kind of additional expertise, while at the same time not making it exclusionary so that it becomes financial drivers. I think it's more for the public to recognize that certain individuals do have a greater depth of knowledge and skill and experience in a specific area. There was a written qualifying exam, and then there was a oral certifying exam. So the written qualifying exam basically tests foundational knowledge, and you had to pass that to do the oral certifying exam in the OCE. And we used to give that in person, but they were case-based hypotheticals. COVID just made us deliver that same exam in a different way, in a more accelerated, concentrated way, which we didn't really feel it was necessary, but we felt like we could do the exam better. And part of it is that where the exam was lacking was to evaluate professional behavior, which makes sense if you think where the problems are with our diplomates is really in professionalism rather than competency. So the idea was, instead of giving a standardized oral exam, that we would actually have the candidates document all their patients and complications and billing and coding and indications. I mean, we basically look at their practice and have them give a X number of cases over a defined period of time, and we'd be able to choose the patients that we would examine them on. And the thought behind that is actually that's what they're doing in real life. And it gives us a kind of a better snapshot of, are they making good, are the indications correct? Not necessarily are they doing the operation right, but are they taking care of the patients well during and after surgery? What do they do when they get a complication? How do they talk to the patient? How do they talk to the family? Are they billing correctly? So those kinds of things, I think, give us a better idea of how our potential deployment is functioning, in the immediate period post-training. And my hope is that they would develop practices that really are in the best interest of the patient. And it also, there's a level of accountability there too, in the whole scope of all of their decision-making. What is the role of the board 5, 10, 15 years from me? What do we see down the horizon as challenges in certification and profession? And, how do we impact that? It seemed to me that what we were being challenged with was preserving our profession and correlating that with how do you make changes in professionalism, professional behavior. And it was more of a broad-based vision, and how that would be implemented, I think, has been part of the strategic planning process. How do we change assessments to impact professional behavior and to preserve our profession? Because if we're not acting appropriately, it does put our profession at risk. And then when you have the change in medicine, a lot of physicians becoming employees and all of that, and now being, their performance measures are different. They're primarily production-based. And then there's a reaction to that. You put people under stress, it affects their professional behavior. And you put them in situations where they feel like they don't have a lot of control. They're kind of working late in the morning and at night with the EMR and all the additional stresses. You can't not recognize that affects professionalism. So, how do you impact that?